All right, we're going to get started now. Welcome to the final event in the Iowa City Public Library's Poetry Month presentations. We had a nice turnout for Read Aloud, which it was our one-on-one poetry program a couple of weeks ago, and today our final program with Reading Aloud, and they are from the Iowa City Senior Center, Iowa City Johnson County Senior Center. They've been on tour all month, so it's been kind of hard to get them. They're very hard this time of year to book them, but we are very privileged to have them today. I'm going to have Ina come up and describe the program. We are live on the channel 20, so people watching at home, we hope you enjoy the program, and we have a nice crowd here today, so Ina, it's all yours.
Greetings and welcome to Happy Birthday Poets. We're here to celebrate National Poetry Month. Of course, for us in Reading Aloud, every month is Poetry Month. We wanted to cast as wide a net as possible to celebrate poetry and poets. And so we thought of the poets we like very much and looked up when they were born, which month of the year, which day, which year, and we must have collected 5 or 6 for each month. Of course, we know that there are many, many more. But of those 5 and 6, the readers chose 2 for each month. And for those 2 poets, we selected 1 or sometimes more than 1 poem. And that is our celebration of poetry. But happy birthday to all the other poets who we are not including. Let me introduce the readers today. Chuck Felling, Nancy Lynch, Michael Chan, Betty Norbeck, Pat Huff, Johnny Ellsworth, Mary Gutman, Kathy Mitchell, and Jim Curry. And I'm Ina Lowenberg. And now we will begin with the month of January.
January. Happy birthday, Robert Burns. Born the 25th of January, 1759. I will be reading his poem, John Barleycorn, but not the complete poem. The complete poem takes about 30 minutes. It is long, it is a song, and it is recited with varying degrees of preciseness in Scottish taverns on his birthday. This is not a Scottish tavern, so I will do my very best. John Barleycorn. There was 3 kings into the east, 3 kings both great and high, and they had sworn a solemn oath, John Barleycorn should die. They took a plough and ploughed him down, put clods upon his head, and they had sworn a solemn oath, John Barleycorn was dead. But the cheerful spring came kindly on, and showers began to fall. John Barleycorn got up again, and sore surprised them all. The sultry suns of summer came, and he grew thick and strong, his head wheel armed with pointed spears, then no one should him wrong. The sober autumn entered mild, when he grew wan and pale. His bending joints and drooping head showed he'd begun to fail. Pardon me. Happy birthday, Philip Levine. Born January 10th, 1928. A sleepless night. April and the last of the plum blossoms scatters on the black grass before dawn. The sycamore, the lime, the struck pine inhale the first pale hints of sky. An iron day, I think. Yet it will come dazzling, the light rise from the belly of leaves and pour burning from the cups of poppies. The mockingbird squawks from his perch, fidgets and settles back. The snail, awake for good, trembles from his shell and sets sail for China. My hand dances in the memory of 1,000,000 vanished stars. A man has every place to lay his head.
February. Happy birthday, Elizabeth Bishop, born on the 8th in 1911. One art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their lost is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied, it's evident. The art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. And happy birthday, W.H. Auden, born on the 21st in 1907. Musée des Beaux-Arts. About suffering they were never wrong, the old masters. How well they understood its human position, how it takes place while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. How, when the aged are reverently, passionately waiting for the miraculous birth, there always must be children who did not specially want it to happen, skating on a pond at the edge of the wood. They never forgot that even the dreadful martyrdom must run its course anyhow in a corner, some untidy spot where the dogs go on with their doggy life and the torturous horse scratches its innocent behind on a tree. In Bruegel's Icarus, for instance, how everything turns away quite leisurely from the disaster. The plowman may have heard the splash, the forsaken cry, but for him it was not an important failure. The sun shone as it had to on the white legs disappearing into the green water, and the expensive, delicate ship that must have seen something amazing, a boy falling out of the sky, had somewhere to get to and sailed calmly on.
March. Happy birthday, Robert Frost, born on the 26th, 1874. 2 poems. First one, Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if you had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Second one. Acquainted with the night. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet when far away an uninterrupted cry came over houses from another street. But not to call me back or say goodbye, and further still at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night. Happy birthday, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, born on the 6th, 1806. How do I love thee? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being an ideal grace, I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
April, and a big happy birthday to William Shakespeare, born 1564. 2 sonnets. 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou oust, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal line to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. 29. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I, all alone, beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented lest. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising, from sullen earth sing hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Happy birthday, Seamus Heaney, born on April 13th, 1939. A Kite for Evine, after L'Aquilone by Giovanni Pascoli. Air from another life and time and place. Pale blue heavenly air is supporting a white wing beating high against the breeze. And yes, it is a kite. And when one afternoon all of us there trooped out among the briar hedges and striped thorn, I take my stand again, halt opposite Anahorish Hill, to scan the blue, back in that field to launch our long-tailed comet. And now it hovers, tugs, veers, dives askew, lifts itself, goes with the wind until it rises to loud cheers from us below. Rises, and my hand is like a spindle unspooling the kite, a thin-stemmed flower, climbing and carrying farther, higher, the longing in the breast and planted feet and gazing face and heart of the kite flyer, until string breaks and, separate, elate, the kite takes off, itself alone, a windfall.
The merry month of May. Happy birthday, Robert Browning. May 7th, 1812. Oh, to be in England, now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs in a brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough in England now. And after April, when May follows, and the whitethroat bills and all the swallows, hark, where my blossomed pear tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops. At the bent spray's edge, that's the white thrush, he sings twice over, lest you think he could never recapture the first fine, careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontime wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower. Different in Italy than in England, right? Happy birthday, Adrian Rich, born May 16, 1929. Storm warnings. The glass has been falling all afternoon, and knowing better than the instrument what winds are walking overhead, what zone of gray unrest is moving across the land, I leave the book upon a pillowed chair and walk from window to closed window, watching boughs strain against the sky. And think again, as often when the air moves inward toward a silent core of waiting, how with a single purpose time has traveled by secret currents of undiscerned into this polar realm. Whether abroad and whether in the heart alike, come on regardless of prediction. Between foreseeing and averting change lies all the mastery of elements which clocks and weather glasses cannot alter. Time in the hand is not control of time, nor shattered fragments of an instrument a proof against the wind. The wind will rise, we can only close the shutters. I draw the curtains as the sky goes black and set a match to candles sheathed in glass against the keyhole draught, the insistent whine of weather through the unsealed aperture. This is our sole defense against the season. These are the things we have learned to do who live in troubled regions.
June. Happy birthday, William Butler Yeats, born on June 13, 1865. The Lake Isle of Innisfree. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always, night and day, I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's gray, I hear it in the deep heart's core. Happy birthday, Lucille Clifton, born June 27, 1936. Sorrows. Who would believe them winged? Who would believe they could be beautiful? Who would believe they could fall so in love with mortals that they would attach themselves as scars attach and ride the skin? Sometimes we hear them in our dreams, rattling their skulls, clicking their bony fingers, envying our crackling hair, our spice-filled flesh. They have heard me beseeching as I whispered into my own cupped hands, enough, not me again, enough. But who can distinguish one human voice amid such choruses of desire?
July. And happy birthday, Gerard Manley Hopkins, born the 28th, 1844. God's grandeur. The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining from shook foil. It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil, crushed. Why do men then now not wreck his rod? Generations have trod, have trod, have trod, and all is seared with trade, bleared, smeared with toil, and wears man's smudge and shares man's smell. The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod. And for all this, nature is never spent. There lives the dearest freshness deep down things. And though the last lights off the black west went, O morning, at the brown brink eastward springs, because the Holy Ghost over the bent world broods, with warm breast and with, bright wings.
Happy birthday, Stanley Kunitz, born the 29th of July, 1905. Touch me. Summer is late, my heart. Words plucked out of the air some 40 years ago when I was wild with love and torn almost in two, scatter like leaves this night of whistling wind and rain. It is my heart that's late. It is my song that's flown. Outdoors all afternoon under a gunmetal sky, staking my garden down. I kneeled to crickets trilling underfoot as if about to burst from their crusty shells. Like a child again, marveled to hear so clear and brave a music pour from such a small machine. What makes the engine go? Desire, desire, desire. The longing for the dance stirs in the buried life. One season only, and it's done. So let the battered old willow thrash against the window panes, and the house timbers creak. Darling, do you remember the man you married? Touch me, remind me who I am.
For August, our longtime reader, Carrie Malone, was not able to be with us today. But I don't know that you won't want to miss these poems. So happy birthday, Donald Justice, born August 12th, 1925. The wall. The wall surrounding them they never saw, the angels often. Angels were as common as birds or butterflies, but looked more human. As long as wings were furled, they felt no awe. Beasts, too, were friendly. They could find no flaw in all of Eden. This was the first omen. The second was the dream which woke the woman. She dreamed she saw the lion sharpen his claw. As for the fruit, it had no taste at all. They had been warned of what was bound to happen. They had been told of something called the world. They had been told and told about the wall. They saw it now. The gate was standing open. As they advanced, the giant wings unfurled. Happy birthday, Rita Dove, born on the 28th, 1952. Day's star. She wanted a little room for thinking, but she saw diapers steaming on the line. A doll slumped behind the door. So she lugged a chair behind the garage to sit out the children's naps. Sometimes there were things to watch. The pinched armor of a vanished cricket, a floating maple leaf. Other days she stared until she was amazed. When she closed her eyes, she'd only see her own vivid blood. She had an hour at best before Liza appeared pouting from the top of the stairs. And just what was Mother doing out back with the field mice? Why, building a palace. Later that night, when Thomas rolled over and lurched into her, she would open her eyes and think of the place that was hers for an hour, where she was nothing, pure nothing, in the middle of the day.
September. Happy birthday, W.S. Merwin, born on the 30th in 1927. The poem is Cold Spring Morning. At times, it has seemed that when I first came here, It was an old self I recognized in the silent walls and the river far below, but the self has no age, as I knew even then, and had known for longer than I could remember. And the sky has no sky except itself this white morning in May, with fog hiding the barns that are empty now, and hiding the mossed limbs of gnarled walnut trees and the green pastures unfurled along the slope. I know where they are, and the birds that are hidden in their own calls in the cold morning. I was not born here. I come and go. A second poem is Good Night. Sleep softly, my old love, my beauty in the dark. Night is a dream we have, as you know, as you know. Night is a dream, you know, an old love in the dark, around you as you go, without end, as you know. In the night where you go, sleep softly, my old love, without end, in the dark, in the love that you know. Happy birthday, Evan Boland, born the 24th in 1944. And her poem is Quarantine. In the worst hour of the worst season, of the worst year of a whole people, a man set out from the workhouse with his wife. He was walking, they were both walking north. She was sick with famine fever and could not keep up. He lifted her and put her on his back. He walked like that, west and north, until at nightfall, under fleeting stars, freezing stars, they arrived. In the morning, they were both found dead, of cold, of hunger, of the toxins of a whole history. But her feet were held against his breastbone. The last heat of his flesh was his last gift to her. Let no love poem ever come to this threshold. There's no place here for the inexact praise of the easy graces and sensuality of the body. There's only time for this merciless inventory. Their death together in the winter of 1847, and what they suffered, how they lived, and what there is between a man and a woman, and in which darkness it can best be proved.
October. Happy birthday, Wallace Stevens. Born October 2nd, 1879. A postcard from the volcano. Children picking up our bones will never know that these were once as quick as foxes on the hill.
and that in autumn, when the grapes made sharp air sharper by their smell, these had a being, breathing frost. And least we'll guess that with our bones we've left much more, left what still is, the look of things, left what we felt, and what we saw. The spring clouds below, above the shuttered mansion house, beyond our gate, and the windy sky cries out illiterate despair. We knew for long the mansion's look, and what we said of it became a part of what it is. Children, still weaving budded orioles, will speak our speech and never know, will say of the mansion that it seems as if he that lived there left behind a spirit storming in blank walls, a dirty house, in a gutted world, a tatter of shadows peaked to white, smeared with the gold of the opulent sun. Happy birthday, Sylvia Plath, born October 27th, 1932. Morning Song. Love set you going like a fat gold watch. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bald cry took its place among the elements. Our voices echo, magnifying your arrival. New statue. In a drafty museum, your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round blankly as walls. I'm no more your mother than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's hand. All night, your mouth breath flickers among the flat pink roses. I wake to listen. Far sea moves in my ear. One cry and I stumble from bed, cow-heavy and floral in my Victorian nightgown. Your mouth opens clean as a cat's. The window square whitens and swallows its dull stars. And now you try your handful of notes. The clear vowels rise like balloons.
November. Happy birthday, William Blake, born on the 28th in 1757. The tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? And happy birthday, Robert Louis Stevenson, who was born on the 13th of November in 1830. Good and bad children. Children, you are very little, and your bones are very brittle. If you would grow great and stately, you must try to walk sedately. You must still be bright and quiet, and content with simple diet, and remain through all bewildering, innocent, and honest children. Happy hearts and happy faces, happy play in grassy places. That was how, in ancient ages, children grew to kings and sages. But the unkind and the unruly and the sort who eat unduly. They must never hope for glory. Theirs is quite a different story. Cruel children, crying babies, all grow up as geese and gabies, hated as their age increases by their nephews and their nieces.
Yes. December. Happy birthday, Emily Dickinson, born the 10th in 1830. A bird came down the walk. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all around. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head like one in danger, cautious. I offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and rowed him softer home. Than oars divide the ocean, too silver for a seam, or butterflies off banks of noon leap plashless as they swim. The mushroom is the elf of plants. The mushroom is the elf of plants. At evening it is not. At morning in a truffled hut, it stop upon a spot, as if it tarried always, and yet its whole career is shorter than a snake's delay, and fleeter than a tear. 'Tis a vegetation's juggler, the germ of alibi, doth like a bubble antedate, and like a bubble high. I feel as if the grass was pleased to have it intermit, this surreptitious scion of summer's circumspect. Had nature any supple face, or could she one contemn? Had nature an apostate, that mushroom, it is him. Happy birthday, James Wright, born the 13th in 1927. A breath of air. I walked, when love was gone, out of the human town for an easy breath of air. Beyond a break in the trees, beyond the hangdog lives of old men, beyond girls, the tall stars held their peace. Looking in vain for lies, I turned like earth to go. And owl's wings hovered, bare, on the moon's hills of snow. And things were as they were. Northern Pike. All right, try this then. Everybody I know and care for, and everybody else is going to die in a loneliness I can't imagine, and a pain I don't know. We had to go on living. We untangled the net. We slit the body of the fish open from the hinge of the tail to a place beneath the chin I wish I could sing of. I would just as soon let the living go on living. An old poet whom we believe in said the same thing, and so we paused among the dark cattails and prayed for the muskrats, for the ripples below their tails, for the little movements that we knew the crawdads were making underwater, for the right-hand wrist of my cousin who is a policeman. We prayed for the game warden's blindness. We prayed for the road home. We ate the fish. There must be something very beautiful in my body.
Thank you very much for coming. I hope that you've enjoyed this birthday celebration of poets and poetry. Thank you.